I want to really be clear about something. This show, and I say it almost every day, we're dedicated to defending God, family, country, and we have a special place for helping the oppressed. And even though, for example, we don't agree with the political views of the Palestinians, I'm not in alignment with their religion for the most part, except I don't think people should be exterminated. And we've spoken up loudly about that, along with many, 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 many others. That's what we stand for here. And if I can do something on a daily basis to help you, help your family, help our country, but most of all, help enhance your walk with the Lord, then we're going to do it. And many times when you get your country attacked, your family is attacked. Your faith is attacked. These issues overlap. When I say God, family, country, there is a priority to this, but it is not exclusive. There's overlaps. And so I'm hopeful that I can help in the areas I just mentioned. And what I'm really, really, really concerned about is how our society is denigrating into demographics, and wokeism is the dominant theme by which we judge people. I remember in Sunday school learning a song. Trust me, I won't sing it, but it was Jesus Loves All the Children, Yellow, Black, and White. Do you remember that song if you went to Sunday school? Remember that? Okay. We used to sing that. Those are real words. Everyone is God's child. Everyone. And so keep in mind that this is the way that we proceed on this show. Now, fortunately, because my father's background, somewhat with my background, and the associations I've developed, I'm going to say this modestly, I get really good sources and I get insight into things, and I'm really old and I have a lot of experience in a lot of areas, and I can bring that to bear here. And I only do it for one purpose, not self-aggrandizement. Don't do it for the money. Just look at how we're shadow banned on many sites. Oh, our podcasts are awesome. We're still top 0.5% in the world, but we're shadow banned because we are about God, family, country, and that's not popular with a lot of people. So, anyway, stay with us on this journey because we're trying to help you. And we're going to take a look at something in the area of sports. And I'm a sports guy. I've been a head coach for basketball, football, baseball, primarily basketball, been an athletic director. I've done a lot of things. I'm lucky. I've been a therapist, I've been a professor, been a teacher. I've taught a lot of subjects, and I've really had a blessed life. And I don't really feel the need to get into sports here, except when it serves a societal purpose. And what's going on in the WNBA right now is ludicrous. First of all, they're self-destructive. They're committing economic suicide. And then we're looking at how they have their values just upside down. And I'm not even talking about lifestyle choices, the racist rants that we hear that go after Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark. I'm not even going there with this. I'm looking at how we are self-destructing as a nation among artificial lines when we should be coming together. Because later today in the show, we're going to be talking to you in a continuing theme about how we're having a corporatocracy established right before us. It's unmistakable. This isn't a conspiracy theory, and I didn't have anything to talk about today, so I got to make something up. This is really happening. And today we're going to name names, expose philosophies of famous people, and talk about the actual projects they have designed to do one thing: strip you of your power, strip you of your faith. Yes, I do mean that, the Christian faith. Strip you of your decision making and relegate you to the level of a serf. And I am not exaggerating in those terms. We're looking at a reverse form of feudalism being set up, not just in this country, but across the world. But it really is emanating in America. And today we're going to talk about those people. But first, I want to take just a moment and talk about the WNBA. Having been a former high school, college head coach, and also to an NBA scout for a couple of years, I can judge basketball talent. And I've watched enough women's basketball, though I have a hard time watching it, the WNBA today. I still like watching college game with girls. They've gotten a lot better. Their shooting has improved dramatically, as has the ball handling. Turnover rates are way down. I'm impressed with the skill development of our young ladies. But when I look at the WNBA, and this isn't all WNBA, most people just go to work every day and do their job and try to be the best player they can be for their team. And that's the majority of these ladies. But I'm seeing a league that's more interested in woke and demonstrable prejudice against Caitlin Clark and now Sophie Cunningham for the nonsense they're going through. Absolutely insane. And we're going to show you that and show you how this permeates into society and affects what your kids see, affects our ideals of sportsmanship. I remember when I was a freshman in college, my coach said to me, he said, because we're talking about a bad official who missed a bad foul on me. And he said, that was unfortunate. But for the most part, this is the only place in life where you're going to get fairness. Well, let me tell you, I trust my church too, but that's another matter. But he was right. He was right. Now, with betting coming into professional sports, it casts a long shadow over what my coach told me many, many years ago. I'm going to say this, though, the however is it's rearing its ugly head right now. We need to put a stop to it, or people need to walk away from the WNBA. And it's the leadership and a few prominent loudmouth players that have upside down views and they think they're the only ones that have rights. And we're going to take a look at this because it permeates through the Democratic Party and the rhinos in the Republican Party. In fact, I saw a lady say this the other day. She said, I'm MAGA, I'm not Republican. I sat back for a second and said, yeah, I'm Representative Comer and not John Thune, who's blocking the SAVE Act, like somehow showing an ID is a criminal offense when you vote, even though you have to show one to a police officer when you're pulled over to buy an alcoholic beverage. Insane. Insane. I agree with the MAGA statement. And then there's another term out there that really bothers me while I'm ranting about this. It's Christian nationalism. Well, God, family, country, 1 and 3 on my list. I'm Christian. I love America's ideals. And it's kind of like being in a bad marriage right now, though. I love more of what America was and what it's supposed to be than what it has transformed into. And this is one of the reasons I do this show, is I'm trying to raise awareness to make people realize collectively we have power and we can push this back to what the founding fathers talked about. Starting each Supreme Court session with a prayer, starting Congress session with a prayer. I'll give President Trump credit. I'm not on board with a lot of things he's doing today, but he has recently talked about Jesus. More power to you, Mr. President. I support that 100%. And I could vote for someone like that, even though I disagree with a lot of things like blending our military with Israel. Anyway, hold on to that for a second because I'm going to get into the WNBA. But first, I want to show you something. And you've heard me say this many times, but this needs to be in your medicine cabinet. This product right here, the Nanosoma liquid spray, will absolutely transform your immune system. It did me. I got pneumonia, bad pneumonia, but it cleared up in about 3 days with antibiotics because I wasn't in bad shape. But I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. Why? Because I had RSV with strep lung linings. Where that came from, I have no idea because I take pretty good care of myself. Go to the doctors. One specialist said, Dave, you ain't coming back from this. It's curtains for you. And another one said, you're going to be able to maintain for a while, but eventually this is not going to end well. And then my friend Scotty Sachs, former Hollywood producer, former For the Right Reasons, host of a talk show on Salem Radio. Scotty came to me and says, Dave, he said, try this. What's the dosage? 5 sprays once a day, but you can use it every hour in the hour because it's natural. It'll boost your immune system. Won't cure anything. And within a week, I was walking up those stairs. It was amazing. I'm back in the gym in a few weeks. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing stuff. Today, I'm better than I've been in over a quarter of a century. This needs to be in your medicine cabinet. Absolutely. And the maintenance dose is 5 sprays once a day. If you get into crisis, do what I did, 5 sprays every hour. Go to iwantmyhealthback.com/Dave Hodges. iwantmyhealthback.com/Dave Hodges. Well, I'm gonna talk about something here. Some of you will see it. I call your attention here to the screen here, and I'll just let you look at this yourself. This is Caitlin Clark playing against a player named Bonner from the Phoenix Mercury, and she delivers a blow. And this is just one incident of many I'm going to talk about. But watch what happens here. See the blow above the head? Led with the right elbow and shoulder. It went above the shoulders. That's an automatic ejection at any level of basketball. That's called a flagrant 2 in the NBA and the WNBA. Okay. And she absolutely was unprovoked. It wasn't 2 players jostling for position. She was clearing space illegally and violently. Okay. So we'll watch what happens here after this. Caitlin Clark is outraged because the ref would not call a foul.
She walks away.
Very dirty
the fact that Clark is talking,
that's a taunt. Caitlin Clark.
That absolutely.
I'll let you just play on here a little bit with this.
A player to create
now it's going to heat up.
She's not happy about it.
They're giving her a technical foul.
She is with the hands out.
They're complaining about the non-call. This is absolutely unbelievable.
But she was talking.
But this happens. Let's say this. This happens every night to Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. A few games before this, Caitlin was knocked to the ground on loose ball, going for it. There's going to be contact, but Alyssa Thomas punched her in the throat, kneed her in the groin. This has gone viral. I don't need to show it. I don't want to sensationalize here. No foul called. Nothing called. Should have been automatic ejection. Wasn't even called a personal foul, or what they call flagrant 1, which is a technical foul. Flagrant 2 is a technical foul and an ejection. They didn't even call that. And it was right there in plain view for everybody to see. And Sophie Cunningham, her teammate, has her back. They've had enough. And it's time that Caitlin start defending herself, because she lost last year because of dirty plays. She's lost a few games this year because of dirty plays. And this is the league's most valuable asset. If you haven't followed this at all, the league didn't have charter flights. They didn't have great TV coverage. They didn't have the big TV money they have now. They didn't have all the endorsements from clothing manufacturers. And now they have all that because of Caitlin Clark, and Sophie Cunningham, her teammate that you're going to see in a minute, is number 2. She's number 2 on that list. Yes, in terms of revenue generating equipment, those 2 together account for 3/4 of all attire sold with the WNBA. But instead of the league protecting and being fair with its major assets, because Caitlin Clark has the wrong demographics across the board, and it's really clear. I mean, you have many sports commentators that have spoken out more strongly than I have on this issue, and they just basically want to keep their woke mentality at any cost, and they don't seem to care how much money it's going to cost them. Since this event, and I'll let it continue because it gets worse, since this event, major manufacturers like Adidas have scheduled emergency meetings with the WNBA and said, we've had it with the Caitlin Clark treatment because we need to basically promote her. She's the face of your league, and you're resisting this, and you're causing her to be hurt. They got called out. The White House ran the punch to the throat and the groin incident. President Trump commented on, talked about the DOJ is going to have to look into this. Yes, it is a civil rights violation. Yes, it is hostile work environment with the EEOC. And I could play the clips, but they're omnipresent. I don't need to waste your time with that. But let's go on and see what else happens here. Instead of them calling a flagrant foul on Bonner from the Mercury, they call a technical on Caitlin. For what? For asking them to do their job?
We saw that with Copper the other day against Seattle.
Ridiculous.
She got a taunting call. Clark never stopped clapping. And you see DB and things are getting really ugly with DB and Hines Allen. Yeah, also Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham.
Now here comes the punchline right here. I love Sophie Cunningham. She's a great teammate. Now look at this. Look at this. This pose has gone viral. Viral. You have girls at camps where Sophie shows up to sign autographs, doing the pointing with her. I'll show you that in a minute. But she's pointing at Bonner and saying, watch yourself, no more. That's what this means. Is it aggressive? Yes. But here you make the victim a bigger victim in Caitlin Clark. The referees are doing nothing to protect her on a nightly basis. This is every night, people. This isn't an isolated incident. And Sophie's saying enough, and she's calling out Bonner right here by pointing at her. Okay, so watch this clip, and then I'll tell you where this has gone.
Yep. Well, what it's done, you can tell that the Fever have now really gotten into the skin of Phoenix. And the crowd letting Bonner have it. She played that handful of games with Indiana.
Look at Sophie continuing to point. She's not going to back down. By the way, she's an accomplished martial artist. Okay, these aren't just empty gestures. Does she have the ability to back it up if pressed into a corner? Without question.
The plug on that idea, and Bonner, of course, coming back to Phoenix.
You know, it's still going on. This has gone viral, this pointing.
People to take advantage of her.
But this won't be the point of this, though, okay? So I've shown you enough of this part, okay? This is where the pointing image started. But this league is so insane. Seriously. And I'll just say this. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, which gave $50 million to keep the WNBA afloat from NBA profits before Caitlin Clark came into the league. $50 million is what it took. He's walking the woke fine line. He can't come out and say what's really going on, but he said she shouldn't be treated this way, and he's called for more fairness, more referee accountability. But he's saying it so soft, it's kind of like, please, please. Okay, he needs to, behind closed doors, drop the hammer on the executives of this league. They're wrecking their league, and I'm going to show you why that statement is true right here as I shift to another display here that you absolutely are not going to believe the stupidity of this league. I'm going to play a video dialogue about how viral this has gone, but the punchline's coming. Trust me. The best part, the part that you will not believe, is going to follow. Oh, my. Okay, here we go. She's calling out the soup Nazi in this presentation. Is that awesome or is that awesome? Okay, there she is as a Greek goddess. Pretty lady. There she is again. This is so awesome. Now she's royalty, pointing the finger. Look at this. Multiple Sophies pointing the finger. Now she's pointing at an alien. Now the Statue of Liberty looks like her. It's pointing. It's pointing there. Superwoman. Okay, you get the idea. Now, let me just say this. We are absolutely going to show you something else to show you how viral this has gone, because it leads to the final conclusion, and you'll go, what? Are these people IQ? Are they in the negative? You will not believe what you're going to see. Just stay tuned for this. Okay. Look at these kids. This clip is on YouTube. Okay, so she's going to camps and clinics and so forth and doing her promotional appearances that professional athletes do. And she is signing autographs. And she shows up here and she's sitting with the, look at this. Look at the girls there. Look at the coaches in the background. Look at this, folks. Look at this. Watch. And now they're all pointing in unison. Okay, I think it's positive because they're saying we're not putting up with unsportsmanlike and brutal play. That's to me what this says. This is awesome. Girls wanting to pose with her. But now we move over here, and the WNBA, as the heading says, is a joke. And then we have to go and focus on this last item here. Okay. Sports manufacturers, memorabilia, memes, paraphernalia. They want to market this. Okay, now let me just say this first of all. There has been items that you'd say, okay, this guy might have gone too far. Like one player in the NBA stepping over another. end zone celebrations that the NFL used to find, but now they don't. They package them into clips and distribute them because they realize the fans love it. And then again, too, some of the other stuff you see in the NBA with the taunting and pointing the finger, like, okay, or putting the three up when you make a three-pointer in someone's face. Okay, it's just become part of the game. It's not a way that I was taught to play. I'd have had my rear end sitting on the bench had I done some of these things, but this is the nature of the beast now. What she did is mainstream professional sports body language. It's mainstream. It's not exceptional. Those of you who watch sports will say, yeah, Dave, you're right. She didn't hit anybody. She didn't push anybody. She didn't say, I'm coming to get you. Nothing like that. Okay. But here's what the Players Association of the WNBA, with the support of the president of the WNBA, came out and says, you may not duplicate that pointing pose in any way, shape, or form. Now, remember, this is a league up until when Caitlin Clark came in the league. They were struggling. They were on the verge of failure, and the NBA was going to have to make a decision. Do we keep pumping $50 million a year into this losing league, or will we just let them fail? And now they're self-sufficient and making money, and the players' salaries are going up. That means executive salaries are going up, salaries are going up. You think they would look for a meme like this? This brings eyes on you. A casual basketball watcher is now, well, this is interesting. I think I want to watch Sophie Cunningham in the Indiana Fever. And she's sticking up for her teammate. We always like the role of the underdog in America. But the league said, you can't do it. It's derogatory. Wait a minute. This is mainstream. Pointing is one on a scale of 1 to 10 for what you can see in a professional game is about a 2 or a 3, with 10 being volatile. I couldn't believe this. They're turning down royalty cuts, obviously worth tens of millions of dollars. This is crazy, all to defend their woke nature. And here's what sportscasters are saying around the country, like Dan Patrick. If the races were reversed, would the league have a problem with it? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know what's in someone's heart, but I think it's a valid question. Because here's the bottom line. Sophie was responding to brutal, illegal treatment, violent treatment of her teammate, and this is on a nightly basis, and she's had enough. And this to me is a sign of virtue, integrity. I'm going to stand for doing what's right. I love Sophie Cunningham now. She could play on my team that I'm coaching any day. I'd love to play alongside her because I could count on her to have my back. And this is what sports teaches kids. Now, we don't want them to be violent in retaliation for hard fouls or illegal hits in sports. We don't want to see that. But not to stand up for your teammates is never acceptable. And here's Sophie demonstrating a nonviolent way of how to do it. She didn't flip the middle finger. There's nothing there that I see that's objectionable, like you're not going to do this. And she's right to call that out. What that woman did, if she did it in public, what Bonner did, she'd be arrested for assault. This is the league. It's self-defeating. And I could show you clip after clip where Caitlin Clark is brutalized unnecessarily. She's waiting for an inbounds pass. Come up, bam, smash her. She's on a play away from the ball. Let's go set a screen on her and clear her out with our elbow. That's an automatic ejection. But when Brittany Griner does it in the game and Caitlin's sprawled out on the floor, referees act like I don't see anything, yet it was on the middle of the floor out in front of everybody. This happens all the time. Here's what I want to have happen. You good players in the NBA, I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your religion is, your preference. What you need to do is say goodbye to this dysfunctional league and go to Europe. And watch the American corporate money follow you. It'll be the European games we're watching on TV. And don't think America will do it. How was the World Cup? We doubled World Cup attendance and World Cup viewing on TV here in America over the previous World Cups. The same thing would happen with European women's basketball, and they would love to have Caitlin Clark. By the way, she qualified to play on the Italian Olympic team. She is qualified by birthright. I look at this and I say, leave this dysfunctional league alone. You're not going to change it. This dysfunctional culture has been in place now for 30 years. And speaking of 30 years, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, responsible for 75% of all promotions in the league. And they did the 30-year anniversary poster, and Caitlin, who has set the scoring record, the assist record, the fastest to so many points in the history of the league, transformed a team that was garbage into a playoff team, and she wasn't on the list. Are you kidding me? You people who chose that are flying first class and charter because of her. And this is how you treat her? This is what's wrong with America. We'd rather go broke than give up our woke. And that's the moniker I'm going to leave you with. They would rather go woke than give up, or rather go broke, I should say, and give up their woke. These people are so dysfunctional as human beings, as business professionals. I do advertising and I go do outside promotions for a lot of different groups. Sometimes it's church groups, sometimes it's marketing products. And I've never seen marketing so stupid. And I mean that word literally the way I'm saying it. It's the most stupid marketing I've ever seen. And even if Caitlin, who is not despicable, she's a Christian, she has appeal. By the way, the LPGA is featuring her more than the WNBA just because she did a couple of golf rounds. They love her, but they don't have a sick, woke culture. It's what's wrong with America. We're a country based on equal opportunity, work hard, achieve, get recognized, get paid. That's not the way the WNBA works. When someone comes in and doesn't fit their model, we're going to abuse them, even if they're putting money in my pocket. Can't say much more than that. And for me, I love watching Caitlin Clark play with her logo threes, her no-look passes. She's fantastic. She is, and Cheryl Miller, I loved you too. Okay, Ann Drysdale, I loved you too. You were terrific players, but I've never seen anything like Caitlin Clark in a woman's uniform. It's really a sight to behold. I mean, you look at stars in the NBA like Steph Curry, they're calling this out. So if you think I'm standing alone on this, this league needs to fail. And then they need to rebuild it from the bottom up. And the bottom line is, too, and this is what I'm concerned about. I don't have daughters. I wasn't blessed in that way. But all our young girls need to have role models they can look up to. And I don't see much I can point to for young girls to say, this is good. Caitlin's one of them. And that's about it. The rest are too afraid to speak out. There's a few that are defending Caitlin now, and they're suffering consequences too. It's a woke culture, and I just will have no part of it. And honestly, point your girls, your young girls, to successful high school girls, to successful college teams, and show them this is how it should be, and just don't encourage them watching the WNBA. Not calling for a boycott. I'm just saying it's important what you expose your kids to. And I don't see much of ethical and moral value in this league, and I certainly don't see any Christian behavior. Dave Hodges here, host of the Common Sense Show, doing a sports report we don't normally make, but I couldn't ignore it any longer because every day I turn on my feed or my news on it, and this is running across. This happened to Caitlin. That happened to Caitlin. It's enough. Caitlin, go to Europe and watch all the good American players follow you who aren't in this mindset. And we'll be watching European games on American television, and it'll be higher quality than what we have. And they don't play woke games in Europe in their professional leagues. I'm Dave Hodges. This is the Common Sense Show. God bless everybody.